Welcome to the Taped Podcast, the most tone-deaf podcast in the world. We are your hosts, as always, myself, MickyT.
And me, alcoholism.
That's me.
I've taken the role this week.
How dare you? No.
Okay, get over it. Get over it.
No!
Get over it.
No!
Get over it.
No!
Alright, podcast over.
Fuck you, you ruined the
I
podcast.
I quit.
Wow.
I quit.
Okay,
I quit.
Okay, it's just me. Okay then.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
I'm leaving. Bye. Bye.
Alright, see you, man. Bye. Anyways.
Guys, please reconcile within yourselves. I am Chino Moreno, here to save this podcast.
No. Anyways, with us, we have two guests. We chose the best options for our resident Deftones stands. We have someone who has appeared on the podcast before. I'd say more than a few times. CLJesse, aka Charlize.
Sorry.
And making his first appearance on the Taped Podcast, may know him by many names, but you probably know him best as Hawk or Avenade.
Oh my god!
Yeah, let's go!
Woo! Hell yeah.
Oh my god, it's
Loved
the
it.
man that made the album. It's the one.
It's the man that made the album, the whimsical man.
He made OK Computer.
Weezer, Rivers Cuomo.
I made the OK computer of this generation. Please bow before me.
Anyways.
I think 1975 is this generation's OK Computer.
Oh, piss off with that shit. God damn it.
Nah, man, it's Blackpink.
Nah, it's actually Parachutes by Coldplay.
That's
Piss off with
true.
Coldplay.
That's true.
Anyways.
No, that wasn't even a joke.
God damn it. Anyways.
Love him or hate him,
yeah.
do we spin facts?
Yeah. Anyway, Deftones. You love them. We all love Deftones. We're ranking all their albums, and I'm ready to get shit on for it. So,
Fuck
who's ready?
Frantano.
I'm ready.
I am excited.
I am excited too. I've had a great time listening through Deftones' discography. So,
yeah.
Without wasting any more time, let's get right into the shit. So, number 9, my opinion, Deftones' worst album is the self-titled album.
Our beef isn't squashed, but I agree with you.
You go,
My
Shuggies.
number 9 pick is Adrenaline.
My number 9 pick, edgy pick, Gore.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways, self-titled. While I think it's a good album on its own, it disappoints me a lot in the grander scheme of Deftones' catalogue. Like, I'll start with the positives. I think there are no bad songs in the album. The highs on this album are very good. I think the riffs are great. I like how the band continue to do a bit of experimentation on a few tracks, and, the instrumentation is pretty listenable most of the time. Where my issues lie with self-titled, though, is with Chino Moreno's vocals, and the way that they blend into the instrumentals. Like, I like how fierce they are, but I'm just not big on how they sound throughout the whole thing. Oftentimes, just the mixing feels a bit off on them, and they just feel kind of like somewhat buried in the instrumentals to me, and sometimes just come off a bit awkward. Like, maybe not as bad to the extent as mixing was on Adrenaline, but it just bothered me. Despite the highs on this record being great, I feel like a fair amount of tracks in this album are a bit forgettable, don't really draw much attention from me, and they don't really have much about them that draws me to go back to them, bar maybe a riff or something. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably about time to realise I am a bit tipsy. I still don't think this is a bad album. But by the way, I'm talking about the self-titled as well, in case anyone forgot. I don't think it's a bad album. I think the instrumentation is pretty neat. It's mostly good. It feels a little rough around the edges, especially the production. It seems just too muddy and just overblown at times. I think that Chino's vocals just aren't mixed as good as they are in some of their best albums. They just get a bit lost, for me personally. I still think it has great moments, but, when compared to their other albums, it just falls flat for me.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
All right. For Adrenaline, it's like a fun album. Like this is not me saying it's bad or anything. It's just it feels like the least refined Deftones album where they hadn't really found their footing or their style yet. And a lot of the time I find that whenever I try to listen to it, I just want to go listen to Around the Fur. Because that not only has more of Deftones' like signature style to it, it's more refined, the mixing's better. Chino's vocals are substantially better on that record, and this just kind of sits out as this is fun, but literally nothing in comparison to the rest of their discog kind of thing.
Yeah.
So my problems with Gore lies within the production. It's not a bad album I think it's still a really decent album. It's a 7 for me. But like I just feel like the production is very like muddy on a lot of the tracks. Actually, like on all the tracks, the production is very weak. The guitars are just so like quiet in the mix, and then Chino's vocals are like so like heavily produced and like has this chorus effect throughout the whole thing. But the songwriting on this album is like really solid, I find. Like we got tracks like Prayers and Triangles, and then we got Hearts and Wires, and then the closer on this album is like one of my favorites on the whole album. But yeah, I just find this album to be like very weak in this vast discography of amazing albums. And if I had to choose a weak album, it would be this one. Yeah.
The Nader has given the opinion.
The Nader.
Anyways, my favorite tracks from the self-titled album are Minerva, Anniversary of an Uninteresting Event, and Battle Axe. My least favorite tracks are Good Morning Beautiful and Lucky You.
My favorite tracks
Beautiful's
off
so
the
good.
self-titled were Minerva, Good Morning, Beautiful, Battle Axe, and my least favorite tracks were Hexagram and Lucky You.
Alright. My favorites on Adrenaline are Bored, Minus Blindfold, 1 Week, and Nosebleed. My least favorites are 7 Words and Fiery? Is that how you say it?
Fight or something.
I don't know.
Fiery
It's
probably.
something.
It's something, alright.
My favorites on Gore were Prayers, Triangles, Acid Hologram, Doomed User, Hearts Wires, Gore, and Rubicon. My least favorites were Xenon, LMIRL, and Phantom Bride.
Those were... Anyways, moving on to our number 8 picks. Don't crucify me. It's Diamond Eyes.
Wait, what?
Whoa.
Okay, my number 8 pick is 8. Are you sure?
Yes, I'm 100%
Okay, I can't
sure.
count. My number 8 pick is Around the Fur. I have the numbers in front of me.
No!
Oh, damn.
No!
Damn.
No!
I didn't even know this would be controversial.
It's super controversial! What the fuck?
Well, it's the
That's one of
only
their
even
folded
remotely
albums.
controversial opinion I think I have. So.
I thought I had the controversial opinion. What the fuck?
Alright.
Holy shit.
It's like,
dare-
Mickey said
you dare
Diamond Eyes. I'm
speak
like,
to
oh,
me.
okay. And then Nostalgia says Around the Fur. I'm like, everybody.
Wait, I
didn't even
left
think
for a
this would be
second. What did Mickey pick?
I picked Diamond Eyes, but
the
Nostalgia picked
fuck?
Around the Fur.
Heathen.
Alright.
With heathens.
All my friends are here.
Number 8 is Gore. Jesus, okay.
Number 8 is Adrenaline.
One of the few times I have a fairly agreeable list that fucking y'all come in here like...
Nostalgia strikes again, and somewhat.
Okay.
Anyways,
What would I get for putting To Be Kind at 10?
yes.
I see, okay.
Anyways, yeah. Diamond Eyes. I used to have this as my favorite Deftones album when I first went through their discography. But I still like this album. I think it's really good. It's definitely one of their more accessible records, but that doesn't really drag the quality down. But I just feel like, I don't know, it's just not as memorable as some of the other Deftones albums. Like, I think there's some great songs on this thing. I can't help but have a good time and headbang to them, which I do. I think there is some great moments of songwriting, some great vocal performances from Chino, and I think the production on this thing is really good. It may be a little bit too clean for me, but I like a lot of the atmospheres, and I think the riffs are great. I like that Deftones continue to experiment a little, but I can't help but feel like this is just kind of basic and kind of formulaic for them. I felt that some of these tracks were a bit derivative of what we've already heard from them structurally, and I felt like some of these tracks were just pretty forgettable. A lot of the production choices on those tracks in particular suffer from just a bit of blandness, but there's enough tracks that outweigh the forgettable ones. Plus, it pains me to put it this low because it does have a top 3 Deftones song on it for me.
I actually do like Around the Fur. I don't dislike any of their albums. I just, first of all, I'll give a little bit of a spoiler. I think their debut is a bit. I think it's very underrated, and I do really like that album. And this feels like definitely a cleaned up version of the debut, but I don't know, it just doesn't excite me as much as their debut. I think it just, to me personally, sounded very predictable. There were some fantastic moments, but there were tracks on here that I didn't care for at all. That, just kind of got lost in a track list for me. And just overall, it didn't really give me as much of an adrenaline high. Jesus Christ, I'm never drinking before a podcast again. It didn't give me as much of an adrenaline high as Adrenaline did. It has some S-tier Deftones tracks, but I feel it's just one of their weaker albums.
It's okay. It's fine. I'm okay.
No, it's not.
It's pretty based as fuck. You hate that.
That being said, it's a strong 7. I like the album.
You fucking hate it.
I fucking hate it.
The fuck is
I fucking hate you. This beef is still continuing.
Oh yeah, fuck you. I'm clearly drunk.
I never come on the podcast again simply because he put Around the Fur at 8.
Here, we have you on after this one's To Be Kind debacle, so clearly we forgive.
Fair's fair.
To Be Kind actually deserved it though.
So does this one.
Fine, but this is
To
a
Be Kind's
Deftones
a
episode.
Come
on.
Shut up.
Okay, anyways, Gore, am I right?
Get back to talk about Deftones.
Alright. Gore, I mean, I have pretty similar thoughts to Matt or Hawk or whatever you want to call him.
Matt, please.
Alright.
Hawk, I'm not a bird.
Sorry, similar thoughts to Falcon. But yeah, it's not really advancing their sound very much. I'm a huge Deftones fan, so obviously I'm gonna enjoy it, but it's kind of like I always make this analogy when talking about it. It's kind of like the Fear Inoculum of their discog, where it's just in the similar way that album is just kind of Tool doing their thing with some of their weaker mixing. This album is just Deftones doing their thing with weaker mixing. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yes.
It's my turn.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's my turn. Adrenaline time, baby. Okay, so this is actually a really fun record. I do enjoy this record, even though I don't come to this record as much as I do the other records in their discography. Wait, what? Oh, I said the calm, didn't I? Ah!
I don't church
When do you come to the
much
most?
as the other
I
ones.
don't come.
I don't come.
Funny.
The end of sentence.
That's yeah. Even though I can't find another word to replace.
Just say it.
I
Return.
don't come to this record as much as the other records in their discography, but when I do come back to this record, I just enjoy myself a lot.
Don't say the cover and then enjoy myself a lot.
It's just a fun record. I enjoy a lot of these tracks, but the thing is, like, my con with this record is that nu metal is kind of like a old, like, dated style of music. And while I feel like some of the songs here sound a bit fresh and enjoyable, it still sounds dated especially in the production area where it does sound like a 90s like weak production. Like the guitars are just too trebly for my taste, and Chino's vocals on here are actually pretty decent, but he doesn't shine very well on here until like the next record, Around the Fur, in my opinion. But yeah, overall, like, this is a very enjoyable record, and I love it.
Well, I
All
love
right.
you. Come here.
I'm telling Ryan.
No!
Anyways, my favorite tracks off of Diamond Eyes are Sex Tape, Risk, Diamond Eyes, Beauty School, Prince, 976 Evil. The worst tracks are Command Control and This Place is Death.
My favorite tracks on Around the Fur were My Own Summer, Labia, Be Quiet and Dry,
Yeah.
Lotion, and my least favorite track was Mascara.
That's painful.
Alright, get over it, pussy.
I mean, I agree with that.
Hey! No!
Get over it, liberal.
No!
Okay. My favorites on Gore were Prayer/Triangles, Doomed User, Heart/Wires, and Rubicon. My least favorites were... I'm gonna try and pronounce this. Pittura Infamante?
Pittura Infamate.
Infamate and Phantom Bride.
Alright, my favorites on Adrenaline were Bored, Minus Blindfold, 1 Week, 7 Words, and Engine 9. My least favorites were Fireal and First. So, like, the
All
last
right.
2 tracks.
Anyways, moving on to our number 7 picks, I chose Adrenaline.
I chose Gore.
I chose self-titled.
I also chose Self-Titled.
Hey, gang.
Nice.
Based as fuck.
Alright, so Adrenaline. Deftones' debut album lives up to the title, to say the least, and it's the kind of debut that I'd want a young band to make. And with repeated listens, I see myself enjoying it a lot more and a lot more. This album is filled to the brim with just back-to-back alt-metal bangers that contain some meaty riffs, pure aggression, great performances, just full-on adrenaline fuel. And the debut shows that this band were capable of making great things in the future, and would go on to be would go on to be something special. But ultimately, despite it being a consistently good debut, it does have its issues. For one, the band didn't really have much of a definitive sound yet, as they don't really do much to deviate themselves from other alt metal and nu metal bands at the time, and they just seem to not adventure that far outside of the nu metal sphere. Two, the quality of the album in terms of its production isn't the best. Like, Chino's vocals often feel so buried in the mix that you could barely understand what he's saying. Don't get me wrong, I think Chino is good on here, but his voice is just buried in the cacophony of sound that it's just kind of distracting. And it does have some nu metal cringe in there, but it's forgivable. But it doesn't bother me that much now.
It does have
So,
Chino
yeah.
saying the N-word, which is very amusing to me.
I missed that. Oh shit.
Yeah, he says it on 7 words. I forget what part, but he says it, and it's very funny.
Nostalgia?
Yeah, alright. Yeah, I chose Gore, and I can see why a lot of people wouldn't have this album high up. And to be fair, I don't either, but I still think that it's a pretty good album, and it has a spot in your discography. I do think that the biggest crime it commits is it doesn't really expand on or do anything new with their sound. It just kind of exists and just continues to do what you may expect a Deftones album to do. But like, if you don't compare it to the other albums, which unfortunately for it is the point of this whole thing, it is a solid album. It does have some fantastic tracks, some great instrumentation and production, and is overall a very good album.
Alright, am I up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. The self-titled, I think, is a throat. K. Helps if I don't die in the middle of speaking. The self-titled is what I view as kind of like one of their most underrated in the discog, frankly. I think it's a very, dark follow-up to White Pony, which was kind of an atom bomb of an album in their discog. And I think that more dark, moody tone to it makes it really appealing, especially for me personally. And not only that, but it also has some of their best songs. It doesn't push their sound forward too terribly much, but I still think it's like an 8, and people really undersell it, in my opinion, because there are some fantastic moments on it.
My dad is like banging a hammer in the background. I hope this doesn't get into the podcast.
Well, I can't hear it, so it's
I
grand.
can't hear
Yeah,
anything.
Well, you'll get the
either.
raw file soon. You'll understand. But yeah, so like with self-titled, it was like incredibly difficult for Deftones to like pull off another masterpiece, like hence White Pony before it. But like they did a really great job on this album. A lot of these tracks are super solid and like carry the spirit that White Pony had, but in a more moodier but very like euphoric way. There's a lot of like shoegazier moments on this album too, as well as some like great guitar tones. And then Chino is just like screaming his ass off on a lot of these tracks, but also soaring through the instrumentals and stuff. It's very great. Like my only con with this album is like the second half of this album, it doesn't really pick up the energy. Like there's a lot of like flawed tracks in the second half of this album that I just feel like shouldn't have made it into the cut of the album. I seriously just find them like really weak moments in like the whole Deftones discography. But like other than that, like the first half of this album is like super solid, and like it would have gotten like a 9 from me if it kept the spirit up and like kept the momentum going throughout the whole album. But other than that, it's definitely an underrated album, and people need to rate it higher. Give it a 10 out of 10, please.
Oh. But yeah, basically it fucking sucks. Like, they only have like one good album. I'm Anthony Fantano.
Anyways.
Fucking 3!
I'm so angry.
Anyways, my favorite tracks off of Adrenaline are Bored, minus Blindfold, Route, and Engine Number 9. My least favorite track is 7 Words.
My favorite tracks on Gore were Prayers Triangles, Acid Hologram, Doomed User, Phantom Bride, and my least favorite track was Pictura Infamante or something like that. I don't speak fucking French.
I don't know, I never heard the song. But, alright, my favorites on the self-titled were Needles and Pins, which is top 5 Deftones songs. Literally
Agreed.
do not at me. Good Morning Beautiful, When Girls Telephone Boys, Battle Axe, and Death Blow. And my least favorites are Lucky You and Anniversary of an Uninteresting Event.
My favorites on self-titled were Hexagram, Needles and Pins, Minerva, Good Morning Beautiful, Death Blow, and When Girls Telephone Boys. And my least favorites were Lucky You, Anniversary of an Uninteresting Event, and Moana.
All
I
right.
think the movie Moana, what the fuck? We weren't even
Yo,
talking
man.
about that.
I mean, they should have just had Rock in the movie.
Anyways, my number 6 pick was Gore.
My number 6 pick was Saturday Night Wrist.
My number 6 pick is Diamond Eyes.
My number 6 pick, Around the Fur.
What? Excuse
Hey,
me?
what's up?
Excuse me?
Been over
Avenade?
it.
Avenade? Excuse me? Excuse me? Huh? You
Matthew, I showed you this band in hopes that you would do it
http://spotify.com
based, and yet here you are.
/artist/Avenade. What?
It's a 9 out of 10, boys.
Bruh.
This is where my
be fair-
standing begins.
To be fair though, I'll forgive you. I won't forgive nostalgia.
I don't want to be
yeah,
forgiven.
you put it above fucking Gore, so that's fair.
I love Gore.
Anyways, speaking of Gore, yeah, Gore is pretty much a black sheep in the band's discography, and like prior to my dive, not prior to the second dive, I mean, I even had it ranked as my least favorite Deftones album. but it's grown on me quite a bit, actually. Sure, it may not be their best, but I just can't help but feel intrigued by the more, like, complex, like, direction they kind of take on here. Like, Gore's probably the most, like, spacious and cautious in their discography, and it's a weird way to describe it, but I like it a lot. I think that it's played well, as any other Deftones album should. The lads give it their all. Chino is still incredible on here. I think he has some incredibly great moments of vocally and songwriting-wise, and honestly, I think the track list is pretty tight. However, the mixing is questionable, to say the least, on a lot of tracks. Some of the riffs are mixed way too low, and some of the bass is mixed way too high as well, which just draws me out of it. But despite that, I just can't help but feel like this is really underappreciated in their discography, and I feel like it should get a bit more praise, honestly. I enjoy it.
Yeah, this is the point in my countdown where I really have to grasp at straws to come up with any sort of arguments against these albums or flaws, but yeah, I think Saturday Night Wrist is a very good album. I think the focus on more, less immediate and more kind of organized production as opposed to their self-titled, in my opinion, works really well. I think this album is a lot more rewarding to listen to. I think the production overall just works so well with a lot of the songwriting and a lot of Chino's delivery, and overall it's a very good album. I think it's got some tracks that I don't really wouldn't come back to as often or don't care much for, but it's unlucky that Deftones have better albums because it would be higher up.
Okay. It hurts my soul that I'm putting Diamond Eyes at 6. Like, they have so many, like, good albums, though. It's just, like, I can't put it higher. That being said, like, this album is probably the most lush the band has sounded ever. It's almost got, like, an elegant feel to it, which is weird to say when you're talking about Deftones, but it's got, like, this very soft, sort of pillowy sound to it that isn't really present elsewhere, and I really, really love that aspect of it, especially on, like, some of the slower tracks, like Sex Tape particularly. That more cushiony sound excels that track into the fucking stratosphere, and I think that's just an amazing quality of it. Alright, Pigeon, your turn.
Oh, my name's Falcon. Okay. So, like, I feel like on Around the Fur, like, they finally found their sound that they've, like, and they've expanded upon it after, like, Adrenaline. And this just sounds fucking amazing. This album is, like, when I first listened to this album, I didn't really get it until I listened to, like, White Pony. And then I came back to this album, like, oh, I get it now. So, like, I fucking, like, love all these tracks. Like, my only con with this album is that I don't really have a con. It's just more of a preference thing for me. Like, against, like, all the other albums that are going to be in, like, with the top 5 of my list. If I had to choose what album would be, like, on the bottom half of my list, it would be this one. Only because, like, again, nu metal style isn't really, like, my favorite, even though it's really well done here, and it's, like, done in a more, like, energetic sort of way, and I don't really know what else to say. I love this album.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it too. Yeah.
Fun fact, when I was first trying to get him to listen to Deftones, I told him to listen to White Pony. He's like, no, I'm gonna listen to Around the Fur. And he was like, oh, I don't get it, Charlize. I don't really like it. And then I cried.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said it wasn't my thing. I said, and I was like,
but I told you to listen to White Pony.
And then I did listen to White Pony, and I was just like, this is more interesting. And then on my second listen, I was just like, I orgasmed hard.
This is why you always listen to Charlize, because she's always right.
Nah, Hope. It's a path of self-discovery.
Anyways, We're on best to worst tracks. My favourites from Gore are El Merle, Phantom Bride, Rubicon, Prayers, Triangles, and Hearts Wires. My least favourite track is Petura Infamate.
My favorite tracks on Saturday Night Wrist were Hole in the Earth, Beware, Cherry Waves, Rats, 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 and Combat. My least favorite track was Rapture.
My favorites on Diamond Eyes are, Diamond Eyes, Beauty School, Sex Tape, Risk, and 976 Evil. And my least favorites are Command Control and This Place is Death. Do we have the same least faves, Mickey? I think we did.
I think we did.
All right, my favorites
Yeah, we
on
did.
around. All right, my favorites on around the fur. My favorites on the Around the Fur are My Own Summer Shove It, Labia, Around the Fur, Be Quiet and Drive, which is like my second favorite Deftones song of all time. So fucking gorgeous. And Die the Flu. My least favorite, Mascara. Also, can I just, before we move on, can I just shout out, like, leave a message for Chino saying, please cut down MX. Please, can you separate MX and put Damone as the last track, please? We don't need a 37-minute song with just 30 minutes of silence and then the next track plays. Please, this is not
But
the
we
90s
need
anymore.
the
This isn't
bong
the CD
hit.
format. Please,
Matt,
I
we
don't wanna
need
wait
the bong hit.
until I have
We
to listen
need
to
the bong
Damone.
hit.
Nah,
He
nah.
can't cut the bong hit, man.
Nah, I agree.
He can't do it.
Dude, I agree with Matt. Fuck that. Like 30-minute like silent
But
shit.
what about the bong
Make it a final track.
rip?
That's all I want. Okay, please, I beg. Chino,
What
please.
about the bong rip?
Also, with that being said, Chino, please come on the podcast. We would love to have you on.
I'm right
guys, it's
here.
me,
I'm Chino
Chino
Moreno.
Moreno.
All your messages
No,
have
you're
been
the
conveyed to me,
fake
and I will
Chino.
cut down MX.
You're
for
the
all of
fake
you.
Chino.
You're
Shut the fuck up.
Anyways, now.
I am
Anyways.
the ghost of Chino.
Shut up! We're in the top 5. We're in the top 5. We've made it to the top 5.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh,
My number 5 pick is Ohms.
my number 5 pick is Adrenaline.
My number 5 pick is Saturday Night Wrist.
My number 5 pick, Diamond Eyes.
Ooh, love the diversity here.
Bro.
Anyways, Ohms, super new album. It's great. You're on crack, Fantano, for giving it a fucking 3.
Bruh.
Facts.
And anyway,
Fuck Melon. Stand
How are
Punk
you gonna listen to
Revolution
music
now.
if you don't even have hair?
anyways, Deftones' most recent album is great to say the least. It's an album that shows that even after 25 years as a band, they're still capable of making music that's just as great and as fresh like it was on, say, White Pony or Around the Fur. It's pretty straightforward for Deftones standards, but that doesn't really stop this album from being great. The heaviness and the atmospheric sounds just are as exhilarating as I'd want them to be. The riffs are great. Chino sounds incredibly good. He sounds just as great as I would want it to be. And I think overall the track list is very consistent with incredibly solid highs. If there's anything to complain about, there were a couple of more vocal moments that were a bit iffy, particularly on Genesis. And there are a couple of songs that I don't think are as good as the highs on there. But I have a great time with Ohms nonetheless.
Yeah, Adrenaline is fucking underrated. I don't care what anyone says. This album makes me feel really good. I think it just, everything here works really well. I love the very punchy guitar work. I love the manic drumming, and the bass work is fantastic too. And all of that just provides such a energetic and just crazy backdrop for Chino. And, you know, he gives it his all vocally. I think mixing leaves a lot to be desired, but I don't think it really takes away from this specific album. And you know, the band's sound is far from as refined as it would become on, you know, consecutive albums. But for what it is, it's a very strong debut, and I think it's still a great album. I think it's, you know, not every band starts off with a fucking In the Court of the Crimson King, so, you know.
You saying they didn't?
No, they did not, to be
That
fair.
is their debut.
I love this album, but no, they did not. But I
Court
still
of
think it's
Crimson
great,
King.
and I think I also don't really understand what the cover has to do with the music here.
Me neither.
Isn't that what you used to? Isn't that like an aspirator? You used to get mucus out of a baby's nose.
Yeah.
That's like the least hardcore thing you have in a cover,
music.
but I think it's cool.
Adrenaline shows us
For
that you could be a
babies.
responsible parent.
Yes, it is I, Chino Moreno. Become a dad today.
Technically, Chino was like 15 when they made the album, so it could be representative of his age.
Wait, were they really 50?
Like 15 or 16, yeah.
That's based as fuck.
Bruh.
Were they?
Yeah, alright, I'm here to talk about their debut in the Court of the Crimson King. No, but heads up, everything I'm talking about now is a 9 out of 10 or above. So, stand mode commence.
Yes.
Saturday Night... Can I fucking talk? Saturday Night Wrist sort of marks like their first official dive into a more shoegaze style of alt metal. Like they had dabbled in it a couple times on like White Pony and their self-titled, but never like officially like gone into it. Whereas on this album they are fully approaching the more shoegaze soundscapes and textures and just the like an ocean, like a more oceanic sound. That's what I can most equate this album to, especially on, well, Cherry Waves. And I think that their execution of that transition into shoegaze, it's top notch. They do it so well, so smoothly. Just there's very little I can complain about this. Complain about with this album. It's more of just like it's really good. I just think they somehow have several albums that are better. If that makes sense.
Stand mode activated.
Yeah.
I say that a lot.
Is it
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes. It's your turn.
Alright, for Diamond Eyes. Wow. What a fucking stellar album they made here, boys. Let's give them a round of applause. Let's keep going. Okay.
Wow.
But yeah, like, this is like
Good job,
one of
Chino.
their most like angriest albums, but yeah, there's some like very soft songs on here that are just so beautiful. Some of their most beautiful songs in their whole discography on this album. And everyone's performances on this album is like stellar. And it's sad that she wasn't here for this album because like I feel like his spirit was with us and is still with us throughout the whole new Deftones discography for sure. Because like Sergio is a killer on the bass and he just brings the energy on this album. Chino's vocals sound so pristine on this album too, like compared to like the raw like chapped vocals on like Saturday Night Wrist, which I do love, but like on Diamond Eyes he just sounds so clean and so like angelic, and it's just like what kind of production did he have to get these vocals? It's like amazing, and the guitar tones are just like and they're also like and it's so lush and so beautiful. And yeah, there's like all these tracks are like really solid on this album, but yet again it's all about like preference for me. This is why this is at number 5, because there's like four other records that I prefer more than this one, but I heavily like come back to this record and it's amazing. God damn.
Hell yeah. Anyways,
Hell yeah.
my favorite tracks from Ohms are Genesis, Urantia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Headless, the title track, and my least favorites are Pompeii and Radiant City.
My favorite tracks on Adrenaline were Aboard, Minus Blindfold, Lifter, Root, 7 Words. My least favorite track was First.
My favorites on Saturday Night Wrist. Jesus Christ, can I talk? Hole in the Earth, Rapture, Beware, Cherry Waves, and Kim Dracula. And my least favorites are Pink Cell Phone and Combat. But I will say, Pink Cell Phone's overhated. It is. It's not that bad.
It's such a great electronic
funny
Deftones
enough.
song, but I'll get to that later. My favorites on Diamond Eyes are Diamond Eyes, Royal, which is my favorite song on this record, and it's such an underrated track. I love this song. You see The Butcher, Beauty School, Prince, Rocket Skate, Sex Tape, and 976 Evil. My least favorite is This Place Is Death, which I feel like is a weak closer. But, like, you know.
I agree.
How can you, like, close on an album like this?
Anyways, top 4. We are here. My number 4
Yeah.
My number 4 pick is Saturday Night Wrist.
My number 4 pick is Diamond Eyes.
My number 4 pick is Ohms.
My number 4 pick is Ohms.
Oh.
Ohms.
Look at us being twinsies.
Change your list.
Fuck, alright, my number 4 is, Toxicity. I think Surge's vocal performance on this album is really, really strong.
Wake up!
I'd think wrong band.
Nah.
Actually, that...
They had a
Oh,
song
okay.
together. They're
No,
the
actually,
same.
that's a perfect segue into what I'm thinking, because Surge was on Saturday Night Wrist. So, Saturday Night Wrist.
Yeah.
Saturday Night Wrist is incredible. It's one of Deftones' more melodic-focused albums, but it's also one of the most ethereal and hook-heavy in their discography. I can't speak. And it's great. If Self-Titled was one of their most aggressive records, then Saturday Night Wrist has to be one of their most like melodic and as toned down as they could get. But there's definitely vocal performances from Chino that are just as sharp and as shattering as I'd like them to be, especially on Rats, Rats, Rats and Combat. The production on this album is just gorgeous. The textures and the ethereal atmospheres just sound so great, and I just feel like they're elevated a lot by the incredible hooks that just stick with me so much, especially on Hole in the Earth. Holy shit, that song. Chino just sounds incredible. Like, it's easily some of his best performances in Deftones' catalog. The meaty riffs on this thing are just as fantastic as well, and of course, I just want them to be as great as riffs would tend to be for Deftones. While I feel like this album is great, I feel like a consistency reason kind of drags down a bit of my enjoyment because, yeah, my least favorite Deftones song is on this. You can already guess what it is, and I won't say anything for that. But like, I feel like the songwriting is okay, I guess, but doesn't stop me from enjoying this album because holy shit, the production is incredible.
Yeah, I picked Diamond Eyes. I don't think it's their best album, but I think it's definitely one of their most important in a way. It's their first album after Cheese Accident, and it just wouldn't have been surprising if the group didn't release anything at that point. But not only did they release an album, like, they did so in a time where nu metal was just completely fucking dead, and I think they proved that they were more than just another nu metal band, which anyone with a brain already knew. But still, this just seems like a victory lap for the band in a time where a victory lap was definitely needed. It's pretty, like, by the numbers for a Deftones album, but it's just the instrumentation just kicks ass. Chino's vocals are fucking incredible. I think the production just molds everything together so perfectly. I think it's exactly what the band needed at that point to kind of boost up their the fans' morale and just bring their sound back to the spotlight, and they did so with style on Diamond Eyes. Fantastic album.
Alright.
I also kind of zoned out for like 5 minutes and I was just staring at the floor and I need to stop drinking.
Melon needs to add 6 points to his score because this album is fucking good. Ohms is probably like the most, I'd argue, is one of the heaviest they've had since Around the Fur, just because some of the riffs are so, like, they are produced in a way that's so crunchy and abrasive, and yet at the same time it's contrasting with a pretty, like, they're pretty heavily playing into their more shoegaze sound at the same time, so there's this big contrast between the two, like, really, like, gritty, heavy riffs and the more lush soundscapes, and I really, really like that sort of juxtaposition in Ohms, especially because this has some of their like best songs in years. Like, frankly, like Genesis is one of my favorite openers of theirs. And I also think that after Gore, while I do like that album, they really needed something that had like a bang to it to really draw people back in just because of the reception it had and how people really didn't care for the style they took on that album. So I think something like this really drawed their fan base back in, and I think in that way it's a pretty important release of theirs.
All right. On a count of 3, I want everyone to say "fuck Fantano." 1, 2, 3.
Fuck Fantano.
Fuck
Fantano.
Fantano. All right. Now they're on the same page. Let's talk about this amazing record. Yeah, this is like a shock to me. Like when this album dropped, I didn't expect to like it as much as I do. Like this album is so ferocious with its like down-tuned riffs and its production style. Like while I'm not a fan of like loud masters, you know, where it's just like one volume, I feel like this album works it in its favor because like the soundscapes that are used to fill out the loudness are used like very well. Like we got synths, we got bass and then the guitars. I don't get the Fantano calling this like 80s synths cheesy as fuck when they're so smooth and so like calming. It's so chill. It's like it's the chillness that we needed before they bombard us with the loud riffs again on this album. Like, also not like with like, they have heaviness, but they also have the grooviness on like a lot of these tracks, and it's like the grooviest they've ever been in a long while too, since like probably like Diamond Eyes or Koi no Yoka, and I don't know, it's just very groovy. Again, preference thing, it's in my top 4, but yeah, I don't really have like a con to say about this. All these tracks are like near beautiful, near perfect. Hell yeah.
Something
yeah.
Something I forgot to note on mine is I do have a bit of bias towards it, since like it had like one of my happiest like first listens in a really long time to like a new release this year, because like I think I mentioned this to Matt when I was listening to it for the first time, but I was just like dancing around my kitchen like gleefully, just peak joy.
Oh yeah.
So I had like a fantastic time, so I just have that really nice memory attached to it. And I don't think I've had a first listen that fun since like the Loathe album from fucking February.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree too. Like I was listening to like The Leak. Oh, I'm a bad boy. I was listening to The Leak like cuz I pre-ordered the album. I deserved The Leak. With Trey, and like he could vouch for me. Every time like the next track came off, I went like I fucking went off like that, and he kept laughing at me. I'm like, dude, these tracks are fucking awesome.
I think I came into like a group call just giggling after I listened to it.
Yeah, that was like the happiest I've ever seen her. I was just like, is this really Charlize? What the hell?
No, I died. I'm a new woman.
Still though, those kind of feelings are just incredible to have on a first listen.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Anyways, moving on to best worst tracks. My favorites from Saturday Night Wrist are Hole in the Earth, Cherry Waves, Mine, Up Up Down Down, Left Right, AB Select Start, Rats, Combat, Kim Dracula, and Riviere. The worst tracks are Rapture and Pink Cell Phone. Who would have guessed?
My favorite tracks on Diamond Eyes were Command Control, You've Seen the Butcher, Prince, Rocket Skates, and Sex Tape, and my least favorite track would be Royal.
Just waiting for Matt to react to that. Okay, he didn't.
Wait, what?
Oh,
What?
He said his least favorite was Royal, and I was expecting you to start dying.
Sorry, I dozed off, focusing on what were my favorites on Ohms, and then you just hit me with this news. What the fuck? Okay.
Okay.
Let's move
My
on.
favorites on Ohms are Genesis, Ceremony, Urantia, something. Name, Error, Radiant City, and Ohms, and my least favorites are Spell of the Mathematics and Headless. Fuck.
Alright. So my favorites on Ohms were Genesis, Ceremony, Urantia, Error, The Smell of Mathematics, Pompeii, This Link is Dead, Headless, and Ohms. And my least favorite, sorry Charlize, it's Radiant City.
That was in my least favorites too.
Everyone
Oh.
puts in their least favorites, and I don't know why. It's so good.
It's a good track.
It's
I mean,
good.
It's just like
It's so
it's good.
groovy.
No, it's
It
good,
just-
but like
the
it's
bass be like ba 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 ba.
it's good, but
I don't
like
know. The chorus just seems awkward.
Yeah, yeah.
In the transition.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. Anyways, top three.
It's still like decent.
We're in the top three.
Ooh.
We are ready. My number 3 pick is Koi no Yokan.
My number 3 pick is Ohms.
My number 3 pick, since y'all won't fucking stand up for it, is Around the Fur.
My number 3 pick is Koi no Yokan.
Woo! Alright, so, Koi no Yokan. Prior to listening to this, I was pretty oblivious to what this album was, as in the whole talk around Deftones, I never really see people talk about this album that much in juxtaposition to White Pony and Around the Fur and even Diamond Eyes, but my god, this thing hit me like a truck. If Saturday Night Wrist was one of their more like ethereal albums, this one is the most ethereal Deftones album. Like Koi sees the band's blends of post-metal and shoegaze blended to some of their most balanced, atmospheric, just mesmerizing material. It may not be the band's most experimental album, but I'll be damned if I didn't say that this was one of their most consistently enjoyable albums, because shit, some of the best songs in Deftones' catalogue are in this. It's filled to the brim with tracks that are just, at the core, definitively Deftones, but Deftones at their most gorgeous. Textures in this album are astounding, to say the least. The atmospheres are incredible sounding. The performances are incredibly solid. The heavy riffs and like the meatiness are some of the most infectious. I think Chino's vocals are some of his best, and he shows that he still has it even after 22 years. The hooks on this thing are amazing, and I can't help but just headbang my way through the whole thing. Plus, this whole thing is just such a moment of catharsis that it's insane. The melodic moments are amazing, and when they go hard, they indeed go hard. There's so many brilliant tracks on this thing that are just definitely up there as some of their best songs to date, and I feel like with its 11 tracks and 50-minute runtime, it does so much without a single dull moment, and it should be heralded as one of the band's best.
I chose Ohms, and I think when Fantano gave it a 3, I think he meant it was their third best album. I think there was a bit of a misunderstanding there. 'Cause surely either that or he was listening to a completely different album, because holy fuck, this album delivers. 25 years after their debut, they are still... This just proves that they're just still not slowing down. They're just as insanely good, as focused as... I can just use... I can't come up with any words because I'm a bit drunk, but I could go on for days.
It's nostalgia in the way I love seeing them.
Drunk?
Hell yeah.
Ah, yes.
Hell
Dying.
yeah, that's the way I love to be.
You love to see it.
Anyways, yeah, I love how this album just perfectly, once again, blends just heaviness, intensity, and aggression with just atmospheres and beauty that everything you'd expect from a Deftones album. That kind of combination of those two things is what they've proven time and time again to be masters at, and this is just another example of that. And it's probably the best example of this in years, and it's one of their most exhilarating albums and just a brilliant addition to the discography. It feels like the band's just flexing their muscles and proving that they haven't lost any of the punchiness that they had in the late 90s, early 2000s. And it's very, very, very exciting to listen to this, knowing that they're not slowing down. There's going to be more great Deftones albums. We can make another video like this a few years from now, and we'll have another exciting new addition.
Deftones' worst best Redux.
Yeah, Redux 2030.
Planning the Redux.
My favorite is Eros.
They need to release Arrow. It's true.
The tapes for
Like,
that might be
fucking-
just lost in the abyss. We never know.
Well, no, because Chino said that they have it. It's just hard to go back and finish it because Chi isn't there.
Yeah, understandable, honestly.
But like the one song from it that's out is so fucking good. Like, oh,
Smile.
yeah. I think when Melon was talking about ohms, he listened to the new MGK and got them confused.
Yeah, probably.
Ah, that makes sense.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was listening
Around
to the
the
new
fir-
Slipknot.
You could get those mixed up, yeah.
Yeah.
He heard Corey Taylor and thought it was Deftones.
Oh, the new...
He got the System of a Down leak and he was like, "This is shit."
But
Anyways,
He,
who's...
he downloaded the System of a
Why
Down
is the
Legend of
drummer
Zelda
the
song
singer
from
and ranting
LimeWire.
about how Trump loves immigrants? What?
Anyways, who's next?
me. Okay. As I said towards the beginning of the video when I was talking about Adrenaline, Around the Fur feels like the more refined and crisp version of that album. It's like the riffs are so heavy and aggressive in a very sticky and fun way, whilst also maintaining a a found style and a found footing that Deftones got. They stand out more in like the more alt metal scene, on this album, and I think that Chino's vocal delivery just completely excels. He sounded good on Adrenaline, but he sounds fucking amazing on this album, especially on songs like Be Quiet and Drive, or even some of the more aggressive cuts such as like Rickets. That was it.
Wow.
Hello.
Hello.
Crickets. Am I right?
All
Alright, so Koino Yoko.
Comedy.
You got a problem?
Let me s-
You got a problem? Avenade?
Don't punch me up, Chino Moreno. I'm not making
I don't
any more
fucking care
Deftones
who
until
you are.
apologize.
Let
Okay, that's
let
it.
the
I'm
let the poor
erasing
guy
that.
say his piece.
Alright, so Koino Yokan is like one of the most lush metal albums I've ever listened to. Like if you thought Diamond Eyes was lush, oh boy, what the fuck is this shit right here? Like the album kicks off with Swerve City, which is like a weird opener because it starts off with all this energy, but you just along for the ride, you're grooving along with the track, and then you got like half of the track list is filled with bangers, and then the other half is filled with some of the most beautiful, most textured Deftones songs I've ever had the pleasure of hearing. Like, we got tracks like Rosemary, which is like a sentence into the heavens kind of track, and then we got Entombed, which does the same fucking thing. Like, it's like these urethral tracks send you up to heaven, and then the next track after that is like their most hard track, like Poltergeist or some shit, and they bring you back down to hell. You're just trying to climb your way back up into the heavens, while Deftones brings you back down. Stay the fuck down here, bitch. It's like, holy shit. It's like, fucking, it's a beautiful fucking record. Like, holy shiznits. That's all I need to say. You guys listen to that album.
was-
You agree with me.
That was an
Love
Want to
it,
know what else
hate
is
it,
a
what would you
beautiful
rate?
record?
You're the
It's
best.
a
You're the
Whimsical
best.
Afterlife by
failed
Avenade,
my maths
available on
test.
streaming now. Along with his
Oh.
2 new singles, Mr. Whisper and Jay Frusciante.
Stream Mr. Whisper.
Anyways, my favorite tracks off of Koi no Yokon are Swerve City, Leathers, Entombed, Gauze, Rosemary, and What Happened to You. My least favorite track is Romantic Dreams.
My favorite tracks on Ohms were Ceremony, Error, A Spell of Mathematics, and This Link is Dead, and my least favorite track is Radiant City.
Okay, my favorites on Around the Fur are My Own Summer Shove It, Labia, Mascara, Around the Fur, Be Quiet and Drive Far Away. My least favorites are Rickets and Lotion. But I still really like both of those songs.
Alright, my favorites on Koi no Yokan were Swift City, Romantic Dreams, Leathers, Poltergeist, Entombed, Graphic Nature, Tempest, Gauze, Rosemary, and What Happened to You. My least favorite was Goon Squad. At this point, I'm just listing off the whole entire track list because, I just fucking love these records. I just noticed that. I'm like, holy shit.
I mean,
what are your favorite tracks? The album.
I mean, understandable, dude. Understandable. That's all I have to say.
Ah, yes.
But
Watch him get to like his. He'll get to his number one, and then his least favorites will be none. And his favorites will be none, and then his least favorites will be the entire track listing. He just hates the album, but he put it at the top out of obligation.
anyways, we are at the top, nearly. Just 2 left. My number 2 pick is Around the Fur.
My number 2 pick is Koi no Yokan.
My number 2 pick is Koi no Yokan.
Copycat.
My number 2 pick is Saturday Night Wrist.
Well, aren't you special?
Could be worse.
I am bitch. I come.
He's choking me.
God damn, we do not condone violence on this podcast. This is a pacifist.
Alright, I'll
podcast.
take over Charlize's place.
Avenade
So I don't know why I
abuses
chose Koi no Yokan at number 2.
Anyways, yeah. Yeah, Around the Fur. I likey, me likey, Mick likey. Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that.
Okay.
I have no clue where the fuck I was going with that. Just know
Mick like
Mickey likey. So, anyways, yeah, Deftones' sophomore album saw them take what made their debut so great and just expand it with heavier riffs, better production, better performances, and all killer no filler if we don't count the 30-minute silence. Like I said, the production on this thing is way better than it was in Adrenaline. It has way more meat on the riffs, way better mixes. The band slowly but surely began to find their sound, and the shoegazy aesthetic began to develop too. I love the hell out of every track on this thing. It's just full on just adrenaline fuel and pure mood. Like, Chino's vocals are incredible on this album. His variations between the somber whispering and to the pure screaming is impressive, and it makes him all that more special as a frontman. Makes him one of the more dynamic frontmen in metal. Just everything surrounding the atmosphere is just earwormy, and I love it. And it's just an absolute gem in the wasteland that was new metal. The 10 tracks in this album are super tight with plenty of memorable moments. The tracks have their own reasons for being great, and the songwriting on Mascara is just Jesus Christ.
Based Mickey.
It's Jesus.
Based Mickey.
And I will never forgive you cunts for putting it in your least favorite tracks. Anyway,
Based Mickey.
there we go.
Least favorite.
It's okay. I won't forgive you for putting it in your favorites. So
It's okay. I don't deserve to be forgiven.
Yes, you don't.
I chose Koi no Yokan, and I'm gonna do this whole review in Japanese. Sukoshi me Shinjuku go kome ni aru boroboro no roujin homo ni ojisan to obasan ga imashita. Futari wa totemo binbo deshita. Kono go kome go uramichi nani warusa. Bakari suru.
Bro, I don't know Spanish.
Chiro to bozoku na bosu ga imashita. Chiro wa super Deftones hito o komorasate.
If y'all want to
Yeah,
speak
well,
Spanish, speak
Europe-
it to each other.
Yorokonde imashita. Thank you very
I
much.
didn't know Deftones was a
I
Japanese
agree.
word. That's pretty. You learn something new every day.
Nostalgia, just
For real though.
nostalgia. Just quick question. What the fuck did you even just say?
Yeah. I don't know. If I'm being
Alright, that was
honest, I just
perfect.
googled random Japanese paragraph. I don't know what I read out. Could be like a chapter from Mein Kampf or something for all I
Oh
know.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
That was a pretty good review.
Koi no Yokan is one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard in my life, and it sounds like the musical equivalent of going to heaven. It's just so breathtaking. I think it's the best produced album since White Pony. I think Chino is on fucking peak form. His vocals are incredible. They just ooze so much emotion. I think the whole band is just so tight and so on point instrumentally that it just blows me away. It's just such a fucking fantastic album. Yeah. Arigato.
Yes. Agree. Beautiful.
Konnichiwa. No.
I dare you.
Hola.
I can't pronounce anything. I can't do that bit. But words. Okay, to me, this album is a continuation of the sort of direction they were going on Saturday Night Wrist, except they've really perfected it on here, I think, especially with them implementing more like dream pop elements into the mix as well as shoegaze. That and like it's not, well, I don't think it's as like soft and pillowy as Diamond Eyes. I do think a lot of that more lush production they learned on that album transfers over and really adds a lot of sonic texture. It's like kind of like the sonic equivalent to like felt, if that makes sense. It's very soft, but it's got like a level of coarseness to it, because felt is very like, what is this metaphor I'm making?
I genuinely don't know.
Felt core. Fun fact about the title that is Japanese, because I do actually know what it means. It doesn't mean love at first sight, but it's kind of like you meet somebody and you know you're going to fall in love with them, which I think it makes sense with the sort of like beautiful sonic palette it has. Like the more like I woke up an hour ago, help me. I'm well spoken.
God damn it.
So with Saturday Night Wrist, this is just like something that I just find really special in my heart. Like this album, like front to back, is just an experience for me. There's a lot of beautiful tracks on here, and you know, people take away from Deftones what they like. Like people love their heavy shit, people love their soft shit. For me, it's a mix of both, but correct.
Keep talking.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Keep talking. It's okay.
Okay. So like people take away from Deftones whatever they want. People like the soft shit, people like the heavy shit. For me, it's a mix of both, but I always come back to the soft side of Deftones because I feel like that's where their songwriting they achieve like songwriting at the most mature level possible. And on this record, like it's just fucking gorgeous. A lot of these songs are I just come back to all the time. Like, and even with the heavy side of this record, it goes off hard, and I just leave myself speechless front to back. It's just a really solid album experience for me, and it also hurts a lot more when you realize that this was Chi's like final album too. He never really got to make another album with Deftones, and it's just really sad. But he achieved something beautiful here on this record, and Chino is like at his most raw on this album. Like his lyrics are like so emotional and so like relatable to me, like, and his performance on here is just so like unsheathed. He glides over these like instrumentals in such a, like, I keep repeating the word raw, but that's what it is, because like he's like on this record, he's not the most perfect singer, but he's the singer that we needed on this album, and it's something that I love about it.
Yep. Alright, moving on. My favorite tracks from Around the Fur are My Own Summer, Labia, Mascara, Around the Fur, Rickets, Be Quiet and Drive, and Lotion. My least favorite track is MX, only because the silence.
My favorite tracks on...
Wait, say what you're gonna say.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, in fairness to MX, the silence isn't really part of the song.
Yeah, I know,
It's
but
more
like
just like a separate thing.
yeah, I know. If I had it on like a CD or something, I would forgive it. But like, nah, streaming, nah.
Guys, that's my favorite part.
It's your favorite
My
part.
favorite
It's
part's
your
the
favorite part
long
because you
rip.
think that album is shit.
Yeah, it's because I get to fall asleep and then wake up again later.
Of your list, man.
Second bottom.
No, there's a
My
bong
favorite-
rip in the middle of the
Yeah,
silence.
there's a
That's why it's
bong
the
rip
best.
in the middle of this silence if you find it hard enough.
Yeah, but that just happens normally around me.
That just happens in the day in the Deftones
I wouldn't.
studio.
If I heard a bong rip in the middle of nowhere, I wouldn't
That'd be class.
think anything of it.
Speaking of which, 1 second now.
Oh yeah. My favorite tracks were Swerve City, Leathers, Entombed, Rosemary, Goon Squad, What Happened to You, and my least favorite track was Gauze.
My favorites on Koino Yokan are Swerve City Letters and Leathers. Oh my god, what is up with me today? Entombed, which is one of their best songs, I'd like to state. Gauze and What Happened to You, and my least favorites are Graphic Nature and Goon Squad.
My favorites on Saturday Night Wrist were Hole in the Earth, Rapture Beware, Cherry Waves Mine, The Konami Code, Xerxes, Rats, Pink Cell Phone, Combat, Kim Dracula, and Riviera. I gave this album a 10, if you can't tell. I just listed off the entire track list. I don't have any least favorites. Pink Cell Phone, let me rant about Pink Cell Phone for a moment. It's one of the best trip-hop songs
Trip-hop
ever.
album.
Yeah. Saturday Night Wrist is a trip-hop
No.
album, actually.
No.
But no, it's like...
Fuck
like,
you, Mezzanine. Pink Cell Phone is
Pink Cell Phone is a really solid trip-hop electronic song, and like people just excuse it be like being for the worst because of its controversial outro, but like, you know, after repeated listens, it just like doesn't affect me at all. I'm just like, yeah, hot Carlin.
I'm finna swipe that pink cell phone from your fucking hand and break it.
I have a
That song is
Samsung, and
good.
It's not good. It's okay.
It is.
It's
It
just
is.
okay.
It's really good.
It is.
It's like a-
It's a good
it's
song.
really
It's like a 5 out of
good,
10 song.
yo.
It's like a 5 out of 10 song.
You're a
No, it's
Yes,
not.
it is.
You're a
Making
hater.
Chino angry.
You're a
Oh, okay,
hater.
okay, Fat Albert.
Steamy hand jobs and trust.
Shut up! We're gonna
No.
get demonetized.
No.
Man.
What money would we have made?
Like 2 cents, but I want those 2 cents.
Oh, we have never made 2 cents.
Yeah, I know.
We've made 1 cent, MickyT. Come on.
Okay, whatever. But speaking of one,
We have a Patreon that doesn't work.
anyways, yeah.
We're all gonna have the same number 1. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, it's White Pony. White Pony in unison.
Wait, White Pony.
What?
I don't know about you guys, but
What?
my number one pick was Arrows, so...
Yeah, my number 1 was actually their self-titled demo tape from... Are you playing
So
Smile?
run!
Oh my god.
Yeah!
You're gonna get
Right
copyright
back
claim.
to
We're gonna get
school!
copyright claim, Jesus.
Yeah, my favorite's
pick
actually
was,
the self-titled demo tape from before Adrenaline.
Mine was Caucasian Small Horse.
Caucasian small horse. Hell yeah.
Black Stallion, the remix album that hasn't been released yet by, fuck, what's his name?
Wait, is that a
The
thing?
guy, DJ Shadow. That's...
DJ Shet. Wait, that's a thing? Huh? What? Oh, huh?
Is
Eh,
it?
Huh? What? Real? Real?
Yeah. Oh well, that's what Chino said in an interview. He's like, he said he was gonna drop off White Pony at DJ Shadow's house and be like, "Yo, remix this for me."
He's probably bullshit.
20th anniversary. Probably. He was
Chino
probably making a
doesn't
joke,
lie.
but you know.
Chino doesn't lie.
Anyways, yeah, onto White Pony. This album's incredible. It's one of my favorite albums to ever come out of the nu metal era. It's the album where Deftones found their sound, and this, in my opinion, is their definitive best album. It's the Deftones album that saw them reach their musical capabilities by adapting fully to, like, you know, the sounds of shoegaze, which they hinted at in their last few albums, and then they dabble more into the post-metal side of things, and it's incredible. The production on this thing is incredible. The engineering on this thing, it sounds so good. I love the instrumentations, driving riffs, the ethereal atmospheres. Everything just seems in its right place, and Jesus Christ, Chino's vocals are just... they're incredible. And they're just some of the best that the guy has ever laid to tape. His whispery vocals and ear-shattering screams sound fantastic. And his writing just got super dark in this one. They match, like, the depressive sound palettes of whatever is going on. It's just insanely good. The track list on this thing is incredibly tight. It's 11 tracks that barely leave a dull moment. There's so many, like, incredible sounding moments and so many incredible highs, and plus the hidden features were an incredibly nice surprise, especially Maynard on Passenger. And this album has just aged like fine wine. It's incredible. Not much else to say there. It's practically perfect.
I'm going to keep it somewhat brief because I'm drunk and I know that everyone else is just going to say anything I can say way better than I can currently in my fucking degenerate state. But this was an absolute shoe-in for number one for me. It's one of the best albums I've ever heard. It's one of the best produced albums I've ever heard. The whole thing just sonically is breathtaking. From Chino's vocals, which are just so perfect. He fucking makes love to the microphone. Oh my fucking god. To the instrumentation, which is just as beautiful and grandiose as it is just dark and intense. It's just, the band just runs laps over these tracks. They just nail every single sound on every single one of these tracks. And it's almost flawless. It's one of my favorite albums of all time.
Alright. It's hard to find things to say about this album that haven't been said before. It's got Deftones most experimentation, the most sonic palettes, their best production, some of Chino's best performances. It's my 5th favorite album ever. It's fan-fucking-tastic. Everyone knows it's fantastic. I don't have to tell you that. So, instead, if I can get a little grossly wholesome on Maine, I do have a very sweet association with it, because if you haven't noticed, my pal here, my little music man, him and I are very into Deftones, and so whenever I listen to any of their albums, but this one in particular, I think of the friendship that we have, and it's very sweet, and it makes me like their music more, because I have that really nice association with someone that I care about a lot. I'm
gonna fucking cry.
Response?
It's so beautiful.
Shed a tear. I just shed out my asshole. Thank you so much.
Jesus Christ.
Anyways, I fucking hate white people. What about you guys?
But yeah, seriously, I just want to thank Charlize for showing me this band for sure. She was the one who introduced me, who encouraged me to keep listening, and I'm the biggest fan of this fucking band ever. So without her, I wouldn't even listen to this album. So yeah, thank you for sure.
You're welcome, bitch.
Also, this album is just something. It's such a special album to me. It's always been a tie between In Rainbows and White Pony for which is my favorite album of all time. But I definitely think that I've had so many special moments with this album. This was the soundtrack for my last summer, which last summer for me was one of the best summers I've ever had in my entire life. I hung out with some very special people in my life, and I had some of the most fond memories of last year, and this album just really aided the background music, but not even just background music. It was the forefront of my entire experience, and the music just carries me away every time I listen to it. And every time I listen to this album now this year, I just want to go back to the good times where I had all my friends and we were just drinking and playing Secret Hitler in his garage. It was such an amazing part of my life, and 2020 has been a really shitty year for me. I've been inside my whole house the entire year, and I just wish I could just hang out with them again. And my other friend that I've always hanged out with, he moved to Portland, and I don't know when I'll ever see him again. So that's been really sad for me too. And every time I listen to this album, it's a reassurance. Just be hey, don't worry. Another summer will come around when you can have an amazing experience again and have friends that will be by your side and make more memories with. So Yeah, I just made the whole room sad, but
Shit.
this is just like
I guess you could say that last summer was your own summer.
shove it.
I had to lighten the mood, okay?
Just oh Jesus Christ, I can't.
It made everyone happy and you made everybody cry.
Nah, dude, nah, you don't understand. I feel for you, Matt. I feel for you, honestly.
Oh, thank you.
Anyways, we did it. We ranked all of Deftones' albums. Hell yeah!
Ooh.
This was probably one of my favorite episodes I've recorded. Honestly, this was so much
yeah.
fun.
This was like a fun episode. Like, yeah, I've never been on like a real podcast before, so like having this experience with you guys like really made my day.
Oh, thanks for coming in a real
Thanks.
podcast.
Thanks for coming on, dude.
I got to discover Feltcore, so
Well, Matt, you're free to come on anytime you want. There's always going to be a spot open.
Hell yeah.
I mean, Charlize
Thank
has
you
been on
guys
this like
so
4
much.
times already, so
it's fun. What can I say?
it is fun. It is fun,
Hell yeah.
and I'm thankful
It
because
is really.
and I'm thankful for this podcast because like now Deftones are like a top 5 metal band for me. I just fallen in love
Hell
with their
yeah.
music now. It's incredible. With that being said, however, thank you guys.
One of us.
One of us. With that being said, thank you so much for checking out today's episode of the Taped Podcast. Necessary links are going to be in the description to everyone's socials, Avenade's music, and yeah,
Hell yeah.
we'll see yous.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Bye.
Sayonara.
This is a bye from Chino Moreno. Goodbye.
Chino Moreno blesses this podcast with all its love and hope. Amen.